going to cover bubbles, where the weight goes, where the push comes from, and also whether you need to adjust your trucks. So I'm going to show you bubbles with a too tighter truck and also bubbles with a looser truck. So you will know the answer to the question, do I need to adjust my trucks? So I'm going to assume you're brand new to skating because bubbles is one of the first things we learn. First thing before you do anything is body position. You cannot do a bubble like this. You must bend your knees, and the most important thing is to actually get your seat or your bottom low, and that will lower your center of gravity and make it a lot easier. So start in the V position, and you want your weight on the inside of the boot here, and all we're going to do is push our feet outwards. Now the trick to this is to not let your feet go too wide because then you're going to be in trouble. Think about only letting your feet go slightly wider than hip width apart or shoulder width apart. So only to about here, and then you're going to start thinking about pulling them in. So to pull them in, you're going to use these muscles here, and you're going to think of pulling your knees back together. There. Now the key at this point is to not let these wheels touch at the front, because if you've got a bit of speed, you're going to trip yourself up. So I'm here, knees bent, seat low, and then you're going to push out, not too far, pull your knees together, and then when you get to here, you need to stop pushing them out again. So you can run parallel if you feel safer, and then out we go. Knee in. So I'm doing this with my foot. I'm pulling in and I'm pushing out. So here the weight goes slightly outwards and then it comes back in. And the push is this inside here. So I push out and I pull together. Can you hear my wheels? That's the push. The in is the push. But of course, none of this is possible unless your trucks are adjusted. Bubbles are a great thing to learn as your first move because you can also use a bubble to stop. So most of the time on a bubble, we have our weight on the instep. But if you put your weight on the outside of your foot, when you're bringing your feet together, you will slow down. Now, there is a more advanced version of a bubble where you can get loads of speed, but it does mean you have to go slightly wider. Bend, seat down. I'm going to push, but you see that I'm actually going quite wide, but I'm using that movement to get my push. I'm going to run the cameraman over. As a skater, I like my trucks really loose. So this is a very loose truck. But I have lots of muscle strength. I've been skating like since the beginning of time. So I have lots of strength to control this loose truck. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend you go quite this loose because it's going to be quite hard to control. I also have a very stiff boot that I can lean on, which makes it a lot easier. So let me tighten these and show you how hard it is to do a bubble. So I have super flashy plates which have a click action nut, so I can count the clicks. But a lot of plates don't have that. So I would recommend counting how many quarter turns or half turns you make with your spanner. You can't go very far because your wheels are in the way, so I can only do 2 clicks and then I've got to move my spanner again. Right, so I've just adjusted my front truck on this foot here, so I'm going to give it a wiggle so you can see the difference. Okay, that feels horrible. It's actually still flexing, but I'm having to really push to flex it. So let's try a bubble, and this is going to feel really uncomfortable. So here we are. You can probably see my bubbles are now uneven. So I'm having to really push hard. So as a beginner, this is going to hold me back. It's going to be frustrating because I'm like, oh, my feet won't come in because I'm having to really push. This is going to make your muscles work harder, so you're going to fatigue a lot quicker. So this is really horrible. And getting out again is much harder as well. This foot just wants to do it because it's not nice and loose still. And this one, I'm fighting against it. So going back out, I'm having to really fight that foot. If you're feeling that you're trying to skate and it's almost like they're not moving, just loosen them off. Give them half a turn, try it out again. If it feels a bit better, you're like, that's better, but I could go more, do another half. What you might find is that you loosen them right off and you're still really having trouble. This might be because the cushions or the bushings are very hard. Cushions have a hardness rating the same as wheels do. So you might find that you just need a softer cushion. It is possible to do your trucks too loose and they're going to be really hard to control. So generally, if you can move your trucks with your hand, they're considered too loose. So this, I can move this with my hand. So you imagine once I've got my body weight on that, that is going to flex massively. So that is a little bit loose, I think. So I'm going to tighten that up. Like a lot of things with skating, it's all about personal preference. So as I say, as a skater, I skate with a very loose truck because I have a very stiff boot, so it makes it easy for me to lean on the boot. If you have a softer boot, you may find that having a tighter truck makes things easier because you haven't got a boot to lean on. You have to rely on your muscles. So until those muscles have built up, it's going to be hard with a loose truck if you've got a soft boot. As you grow as a skater, as you get more experience, you will find what works for you. If you make any adjustments to your skates, it's good to take the spanner with you on your next skate in case you need to carry on and make a few adjustments. This is Coming With Me. I'm Katie, you've been watching Skatie, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Failing. Oh, I got caught on a stone. Ah!